All right, I'm going to give it another 2 minutes here to wait for other attendees to join. Start at 4 after, 3 after. Okay. Well, welcome everyone to the Cerby webinar series. Today, our topic is securing disconnected apps with Cerby, identity lifecycle and governance for apps without APIs. Cerby is solving one of the biggest blind spots in identity security, disconnected apps. These are apps that don't support APIs or SCIM, and they make up more of your app ecosystem than you might think. My name is Shawn Hickey. I'm the Director of Customer Solutions at Cerby. I help our customers understand how Cerby can help them in their environments and help them with demonstrations and testing environments. Kyle Harris, who's a Principal Solutions Architect on my team, and he will be answering questions in the Q&A that I am unable to get to. The objective of the webinar is to explain how Cerby extends lifecycle management to all applications. We're going to start with identity and security challenge, move on to Cerby's approach to the identity lifecycle management challenge. We're going to show a live demo and end with a final Q&A. I encourage everyone to engage as much as possible. We can do this in 2 ways. One, attendees can ask questions using the Q&A features, and we'll have polls as we go. I'm going to go ahead and pause after each slide to review and respond to any questions. Identity governance and administration, or IGA, and identity access management, IAM, tools are better than ever. Modern applications that support standards connect quickly, but many applications don't support standards such as SAML, OIDC for SSO, or SCIM and APIs for lifecycle management. As a result, there's still a lot of manual provisioning and deprovisioning that is tracked by a ticketing system or spreadsheet. Worst case scenario, there is no visibility or control for many of your applications. Oftentimes, disconnected applications are left behind. I saw this firsthand. I spent a lot of my career specifically in identity, both in the governance, IGA space, and the IAM space with Saviynt and Okta. Oftentimes, I'd see great success in the beginning connecting to applications, but the full vision of the investments never came true because we could not connect to all of their disconnected applications. And that could be because of technology reasons, or it was just too difficult for the businesses. All right, so far, no open questions, so I will keep going. So first poll, does your organization struggle with managing disconnected applications? Those are applications that are outside of IT reach. An easy way to think about this is, do you have any applications where your end users have to request access, maybe through an IGA solution, maybe through an IAM solution, but at the end of that, it's manually being provisioned, hopefully through a ticketing system. Worst case is an email sent to a manager or someone who owns the application, and they'll get to it when they can, but there's no audit trail, or it is very difficult, done through spreadsheets or emails. All right, well, that's kind of what I thought it was. 100%, I'm not sure if everyone can see that. So out of the respondents, everyone responded that they are seeing the space. And that's lining up what I've seen with all my customers. I was actually a little surprised. I've been in the space for a long time. And as I've dug into focusing on just disconnected applications, the scale, I knew it was a big problem. But the more I'm talking to our customers, I'm seeing that the problem is even larger than I thought. I think my end users and customers knew that there was no way without standards in the past they could resolve these issues, and they weren't even including them in scopes of the projects. And that's the reason why I came to Cerby. I saw that there was some way that we could solve this problem, and I was really passionate about helping my existing customers and working with my colleagues over the years to tackle the issue. Over 40% of business applications are not managed by IT teams today. Failing to connect applications to an IAM or IGA solution introduces security, operational, and compliance risk that weaken protection and reduce efficiency. I put together a few examples of negative impacts of disconnected applications. There's a lot more of these, but these are the top of mind. 1, security risks. Delayed or missed access removal or lack of centralized access control. 2nd, operational challenges. Increased IT help desk workload and poor experience for end users. 3, compliance and audit issues. A complete lack of audit trails, or even worse, failure to meet compliance requirements. And lastly, business impact. A higher risk of data breaches and lost productivity due to access delays. I'm going to pause here for a second and see if there's any questions. Okay, so one question, I'll read it for, what would you say to project teams that aren't prioritizing this type of integrations work over to other business priorities? So one of the slides that we're going to cover actually in a little while, oftentimes when I'm seeing, this is not an or experience. If you have an IGA solution, if you have an IAM solution today, your organization's already made a commitment to protect applications. This should be looked at instead of starting up a new project. You're actually going to be able to realize the full value that you've already committed to as a business. We'll dig into that a little bit deeper later. Cerby extends your existing IAM and IGA investments to support every application in your environment. So this is the heart of the matter and goes into what I was just saying as a response to the question. Cerby connects to your existing solutions using industry standards such as SCIM and APIs to perform the last mile actions to any application. For instance, a user is given an application from your IGA solution in an approval flow. So we've probably all seen this. We go in, we request access, someone approves it. Today, that's probably going to a manual ticket. When the team who has access to the application has time, they're going to go in and fulfill the request. Then they're going to go back into the manual ticketing system and approve. While that does give you access, it's slow. And now you don't have an ongoing audit trail. That's a one-time event. To get that information again, you're going to have to manually go back to the application. All application integrations are built, monitored, and maintained by Cerby as part of our SaaS solution. We have a large collection of applications, well over 1,500 today, and we're built to quickly onboard new integrations for our customers. That's one of the things that we do first with our customers. We go through the applications, prioritize the list, and we put together a plan of how we're going to quickly onboard the applications. Gone are the days of long PS engagements and re-engagements if those integrations change due to the application they fail. Everything in that flow is covered by Cerby and monitored by Cerby. You are not going to have to reach out to us to tell us that the application changed. We're actively monitoring it. And none of the infrastructure lives on your location. This is all a SaaS solution. Many of our customers already have investments, and I put in the list of the most recognizable names in IGA solutions such as Veza, SailPoint, Saviynt, Microsoft, and Oracle, IAM solutions, Okta, Microsoft Ping, or workflow tools like ServiceNow. The reason why that's so important is because you already have these processes in place for approvals, deactivation of accounts, certifications, and audits. We're not going to change those flows. We're going to easily be introduced and replace the manually provisioned applications today with an automated process. We do this through APIs or SCIM primarily. So for instance, if I'm in Okta and I put someone in a group, we're automatically going to have the visibility in Cerby, and we're going to assign them to the application with appropriate permissions. If I'm starting with Saviynt and I have a new user onboarding, it could be birthright or it can be an approval flow. The last step, instead of going to a ticket, is going to be an API call to Cerby, and we're going to immediately provision that access. If access needs to be removed, same thing, deactivate either the user in one of these systems or just change the role, the access is going to be revoked. When we're doing a certification campaign, one of these tools will reach out to Cerby, pull back the current access list, and you can then complete the certification. Gone are the days of sending emails, spreadsheets. I was one of the people in my past life who had to come up with scheduled tasks, spreadsheets, different ways to collect user data. I know the pain. It's one of the reasons why I moved over to help customers. We also have customers that integrate with work tools. We want to meet our customers where they are. While many of our customers do have IGA and IAM tools, some of them do not. Some of them are using simple IDPs. Some of them have homegrown processes today. Some of them are using ServiceNow for approvals and removals, but we still add value because we're automating those tasks. And we even have a couple customers that want to go into Cerby directly, and they have groups within Cerby, so they can create their own essentially simpler roles to add access to end users. I'm going to pause for a second and look at the questions. And do we need to use a browser extension for Cerby to work? So for the LCM actions, no, that's actually all done in the back end as a service. Part of the demo, because I think it's important that when I look at certifications, when I look at governance, I want to provision, I want to deprovision, I want to pull back access, but I also want an audit log to see who's signing in, when are they signing in. So I consider that in scope for this demo. There's some things that we won't cover because we don't have time. That is one of the things I'm going to cover. And the answer is yes. For applications that do not support federation, so you have to sign in with a username and password, we have a browser extension. The browser extension will both put in the username and password, and Cerby can hold the MFA. We're going to see how that works in a second. I won't get any deeper there, but I appreciate your question. I'll pause for one more second to see if there's any additional questions before I move on. Okay. With Cerby, you can extend IAM and IGA controls to every application, even those that don't natively support identity standards. And it's important to note that this works for both browser-based applications and thick client applications. Back to the previous question, for browser-based applications, the login is going to be through the browser extension. That can be on-prem, so something that's behind your firewall, right? Or it can be publicly facing. Same thing goes for thick client applications. We do have an agent that needs to run if it's on-premise. That's going to make outbound calls only to Cerby over port 443, so it's secure. We automate provisioning and deprovisioning across all applications, ensuring users get the right access instantly and lose it when they no longer need it. We enforce consistent access controls by extending identity governance to every app, keeping permissions accurate, up-to-date, and aligned with security policies. We simplify audits, access reviews, and compliance by centralizing visibility and enforcing governance without requiring manual workloads. So we're going to double down on that because it's more than just helping achieve or improving those audits. I would argue that there's many applications that are out of the scope of the audits that should not be, simply because there's no visibility. The browser extension that was mentioned a moment ago has another feature that allows us to see who's signing into what applications and automatically suggest they use an application that you already own, steering them towards those applications. We'll dig into a couple of the other features of that browser extension. We won't have all the time for all the features, but I'd love you guys to afterwards reach out to us and we can have a one-on-one session where I can show you all the Cerby features and answer your questions as we go through them. Lastly, we integrate with SIEM solutions such as Splunk, so we can turn the hidden access and activity data into actionable insights. I'll pause for one more second. Okay, next question. Can the tool automate provisioning accounts in SaaS apps that don't support SSO directly via RPA? Yes, 100%. We're actually going to dive into that right now. So we started specifically with applications that do not support single sign-on. And that's why it's going to be so important that I'm doing the demo. I want to show you where we started, how we can sign in, and how that's all done in the backend as a service. So while you do see through the browser extension, we sign in as an end user to an application, right? Now I have a simple click, I sign into an application. In the back end as a service, Cerby is going to sign into the application as behalf of an administrator, go provision, deprovision, or pull the attributes for the application for certification flows. There are no applications that we don't cover. We're intentionally built to tackle the hard problems for the hard applications. All right. I will pause for one more second to answer any questions in the Q&A before I jump into the demo. As I'm going through the demo, I'll keep on track. I'll take a look over as I go through each section to see if there's any specific questions. And at the end of the demonstration, I'll be sure to make sure that I answer the questions as we go. All right. So I've been sitting here for a little bit, so my session's maybe timed out. All right, we're still good. Okay, so the first thing that we're looking at now, this is the Cerby dashboard. I'm an administrator in the dashboard, so I have the ability to log into applications, but I also have additional features. Let's look at a couple applications. One of the applications we're going to be provisioning to today is Braintree. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and it's going to give me additional administrator options. In the top left-hand corner, you're going to notice it says your account is protected. Cerby managed email added, Cerby managed SMS added, Cerby managed 2FA is on. What that means is I've enrolled in this account in an email that's owned by Cerby. You'll see here that it says Cerby-inbox. This can be your company's domain. When applications have MFA through email still, and hopefully there's not too many of those left, but there still are out there. The reason why we add the email account is we'll receive the email, forward it to the individual or administrator team as desired by our customer. It's up to you. And we'll collect, for instance, that one-time PIN that gets sent over. The phone number is managed by Cerby so that when the one-time code is sent, we can log them into the application. Again, it's your choice whether it's kept within Cerby or forwarded on to the end user. And that's where there's this inbox right here. So any inbound requests, you can see them. You can determine who, if you would like it to be forwarded to. And lastly, soft tokens in Cerby. The reason why we do this is twofold. One, it's a much better user experience. Now your end users do not need to know their usernames, do not need to know their passwords, do not need to hold the token on their phones. Second, through our policies, and I'll go down to policies in a minute, we don't just say you need to enroll in MFA, you need to rotate your password. We're actually going to go proactively and do those things. So now the policies that your organization has set around MFA, around password rotation, can effectively be brought down to applications where you don't have connections with them today, applications that are not federated. You'll be able to do health checks to determine that all the applications have been properly enrolled and configured by the administrator of Cerby, and you'll know that you have the top security created for each one of your applications. Beyond that, because the end user can no longer sign into the application without Cerby, because we're rotating the password, it's going to be in our vault, we're going to hold MFA, you're going to have an audit list of who's signing in and when they're signing in. So again, end user is happy because I just click on the button. Security team is happy because they actually have an actionable list, an access list of who's signing into the applications. Side effect of that is you can see if you're actually using the licensing you're paying for, right? So primarily, we're interested in security, but it's always important to understand who's using the applications, how is your investment being used. When connecting Cerby to an identity provider, such as Ping, Microsoft, or Okta, the end user can have all the tiles here that represent the applications pushed back to their IDP, so they can have one place to land. They can log in directly to the application by clicking log on. They can navigate to the application site for the login page. The extension will pre-fill, or they can go to the extension itself and log in. We are a complete vault as well. That's why you see secrets. We'll dive into that if we hopefully have another session together. Collections is a way to manage how your applications appear. So this is I get to pick. I have automation accounts as an administrator. I have location one. However, I want to organize my applications. Business hubs are for applications that I'm performing lifecycle management functions for. Members, simply all the members that are within Cerby. You'll notice in the top, it says members 15 and guests 5. I've connected my instance of Cerby to an instance of Okta. The members are all coming from Okta. But my organization does not want to pay for accounts in AD or accounts in Okta for contractors or other people. So maybe there's some teams that are using Cerby. For instance, maybe it's a marketing team or someone's coming in just any business application where they need access temporarily or they need access, but they do not belong or have a policy against them being inside of my IDP. They can be added here as a guest user. Teams, you'll notice that I have 3 teams, one of them being financial applications and the other Okta push groups that have a very creative name. Those both are marked as read-only because those are actually mastered by my Okta instance. I locally created this LCM demo team within Cerby. So automatically, if I have groups that are created within Okta, they're going to come down to Cerby. I can then tie those to applications. And if I put someone in a group in Okta that includes applications they should have access to, or their IDP, whatever it may be, we're automatically then going to assign them to the applications. That's key because you do not have to change your business process. I went into that earlier, same thing for your IGA vendors, whether it be Saviynt or SailPoint, you already have your process flows and your business flows that you built today. You do not have to change them. The only difference is it's going to happen automatically compared to manually. I'm going to answer one more question. Yeah, I mentioned this, but is there a similar user experience on BYD enterprise workstations? I'm going to let, so Kyle, if you can answer this question at the end, I'll dig into the other questions. Do you think sync apps and users sign from Cerby and have them show up as Okta tile? Yes, that is correct. Let me see. I'll sign back into Okta real quick. So luckily in this instance, I'm actually connected to Okta, but it's going to work the same no matter what IDP you're using. Let me just wait for the code to roll. So in this case, I'm just going to sign into Okta. I'm going to go over to my dashboard, and you're going to see that Atlassian here, this was actually pushed from my Cerby instance. So if we go into the accounts here, I go to Atlassian. For this application, I extended it from Cerby back to Okta. So that's that one pane of glass experience. So it's up to you guys. As administrators, you're going to want to come to Cerby. As an end user, though, yeah, I would say you can push those icons back up to your IDP so they have one place to go. And that would make it so there's a completely seamless experience. So let me run through, and Andre, I see your question. When we get there, I will go ahead and show you how you add additional applications. So there's 2 ways we add applications in Cerby real quick. One, because we have login functionality with MFA, that's going to be clicking right here and add item, and you find your application for your organization. The second is in business hubs. And this is where, as I said before, we have lifecycle management. All right, let me keep rolling so we can complete the demonstration, and I will go ahead and answer some questions afterwards. All right, so I'm going to go ahead while we're in Okta for Braintree Hub. I have a test user, and actually let me log into Braintree real quick. So I'm logging to Braintree, it's putting in my username, it's putting in my password. When we go to the next screen, Braintree requires, it's a soft token that's inside of Cerby. All right. And the reason why I signed in first is I just want to go to team and show you the users. So the user that we're going to be adding is going to be added, the first one, through the financial applications group here. Now, if we look back at Braintree really quick, we go to teams, we're going to see financial applications here. And I've already set the roles specifically for this group that's coming out of Okta. Let me get over there, financial applications. I'm going to sign, and let me look for Jordan Smith. I'm going to add Jordan Smith. He's been added. We look at the teams now. Financial applications, Jordan Smith is now there. While we're doing that, we'll roll to the second application, just so we don't run out of time here. And we'll go into both of them afterwards and show you that they were provisioned. Second application is a test loan approval LCM application. So if you see here, it has more complex permission sets. When we look at that application in Cerby, I'm going to go to the members. I want you to notice the unmatched users. We'll go back to that in 1 second. One of the questions that was asked earlier was around matching users and how we can reconcile. So I want to make sure we cover that, and I put a test user in there because it's a very often asked question. But if we looked here, we can see what access they have to this application. Now, when you have a certification campaign, it's simply API call to Cerby, pull back the app access. We have a collection of everything that people have access to within the application, right? And that's how you're going to be completing. So you have, what are the users that have access to the application? What are their roles? What do they have in the app access? So that fine grained entitlements, you can actually complete this. This is all happening with applications behind the scene that do not have APIs, do not support SCIM today. So we're actually reaching into those applications, performing the LCM actions, and then we receive a check for updates. We do this on a periodic basis. You set the frequency. This is where we're going to see, is there something that's changed in the application, right? Is there something that's not in sync with Cerby? Is there something that was tried to have been done outside of Cerby? And that's where we see these unmatched users. So this is an example, intentionally went in, created a user directly in the application. They were not created with Cerby. That's why they're not matched. Let me go in really quick and add my user here. So we have both applications. It was Jordan Smith. Now, this is graphically represented in Cerby. Obviously, the majority of our customers are doing this through another tool, but we give you the options to create the groups within Cerby to do this, or to go in one by one and set the specific roles and permissions for the user. So we're just going to make him a loan officer, click share. That's going to kick off the automation in the background. While we're waiting for that to go, let's go into here and refresh, see if it's completed. And Jordan Smith now has an application within Braintree. Okay. So I can get to some questions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the groups real quick. And I'm actually going to remove Jordan so you can see that we disable the accounts as well. So I'm going to go to Jordan Smith, remove his access in Okta. That's going to now reach out to Cerby and automatically revoke his access. In the loan application, let's look at that other user who was unmatched. Thursday test, super creative name. I'm going to go to Thursday test. I'm going to change him to inactive, submit, oops. Inactive. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and delete him as well. Delete. And then while we're talking, I'm going to go ahead and click on check for updates. So this kicks off right now, so we don't have to wait. And it's going to go out to the application and reconcile to see where the users are, what users exist. I'm going to answer 2 questions here, just because I know I don't want to have them leave before I get the answer. So about new web app not integrated, what are the steps to integrate? In a one-on-one session, I'll dive in deeper, but at a high level, there's 2 paths to integrate applications. Path 1, if there are applications that you have sandboxes for, you give us an account, we'll go in and build the integration. That's easier because there's less back and forth. We actually can do any testing on our own and build the integration with you. There's many applications, though, that do not allow for this. And we have a browser extension called Cerby Scout that allows you to go into applications and build this out. So let me just show you that real quick. I'll just pick x.com because that's, I can type that quick. All right, I'm going to go into Scout. I'm going to go into Scout. And actually, I'll just create an API key real quick. Expire 1 hour. Next. And what's going to happen is the Scout's going to let me actually go into the applications themselves. I'm going to go through and click on the actions, and then the Scout's actually going to learn the actions. So see how simple that was. Some of the actions will be me actually breaking the key, but I'll go and say create account, put in a name, a phone number, right? Now, if I hit stop, you get to preview this as well. And this is really important because there are a lot of applications that it's the business owner that knows how to do it, right? So no one from the IT team, or they may not on the IT team may not know what are the business processes to go and create that integration. We'll see here that we're actually going to go through and have the recorded actions. We're not recording any of the data. You can preview it and see what you're sending over to us, just the actions that are being created. Once you go through, you name it, you have the application, and then you tag the type of task. So are we logging into account? Are we removing a user? Are we adding a user? And this is how we can quickly build out those integrations for you. I love it if you, at the end of this, we have the link to our website. There's a demo button right on the top of the screen. We can dig in even deeper. But it's important to know that we're specifically made to build application integrations quickly. We see a lot of new applications. We're constantly building them, both login with password rotation and MFA, in addition to full LCM capability. The purpose of our company is to quickly make those integrations. We want to see those applications that you have homegrown that are difficult. We're going to build them with you. We're going to build them quickly. All right. So in the background, let's get back over to Braintree. Jordan has been removed from the application. That's the example of removing it from an outside source. Let me get back to Cerby here. Business Hub. We'll go to the demo app. And we'll notice now that we've reconciled, and we know now that that user has been removed. My super creative Thursday test user. Now, all these actions, like I said before, the reason why I did connect to Okta, I wanted to show you the connectivity. If you go to developer.cerby.com, all these actions can occur from any solution. SailPoint, Saviynt, Okta, Oracle, it does not matter. We intentionally use standards to communicate to Cerby to make it easy to connect to anything. Lumos, Beza, it does not matter. Even if you have a homegrown solution today that you've built for IGA solutions, and there's a couple out there still, I've worked with these organizations before, all you need to do is communicate with Cerby. It could be as easy as a group. For more complex applications where, for instance, as a group or SCIM doesn't work well, you can send us an API call and you're telling us, Cerby, provision this user with these entitlements. Cerby, pull the entitlements for this user so I can complete a certification campaign. All right. The last thing, so all this activity, we talked about tools like Splunk beforehand. I would encourage you have all the activity. So this is going to be anyone who logs into applications, which you could not get before if they're disconnected, right? Now you'll be able to go to Cerby, pull that audit information just for your logging to see, hey, who's signing into the applications, when are they signing in? You can pull the information about who has access to the applications back to your different tools to do an audit, right? At the end of the day now, you're going to have a better end user experience, not just for the users that are using the application, but those teams that are manually doing the provisioning, manually doing the auditing. That's time intensive. And no one really wants to be the person that's having to go in and manually click on those apps every day, right? And you don't want to wait a day, 2 days, 3 days, for instance, when you have a new employee coming on board for them to get access. With Cerby, it happens immediately. More accurate, quicker. All right, let me check out the questions here. Does this support data transfer as part of an offboarding task and transfer deactivated users' data to their manager? We'll dig into that further. So one of the things, I think your question is around, can we reassign an account to someone else if they leave? And the answer is yes. One of the places that Cerby started was actually specifically around social media. If you guys are aware, I mean, everyone probably used X, used Instagram, used Facebook before. If your marketing teams today are just sharing the usernames and passwords, and I'm bringing this up because it's an easy way to illustrate what we easily do. But when you have accounts, like this is in the real world, I have a Instagram account here, Cascading View Lodge, that's shared with my wife. We're both able to log into that application. Neither of us have the credentials, the password, because I have it set to automatically roll, and MFA sits inside of Instagram. So what's happening is I've required in my Okta instance that you have to sign in, go through MFA, be in a certain location to sign in. It does not allow that session to start in Cerby. That's an important point because all the controls that you've already put in place now in your IGA solution and your IAM solutions are going to be in place, but now they're going to be enforced down to those applications. So in the same way, we can reassign that account based on your time period. I'm assuming because of your question, you probably have rules set up today in some tool that says if Shawn Hickey leaves the organization, Tom Smith should have access to his account for 30 days. You just set it up to reassign that account from Shawn to Tom, and then you would have it in 30 days. You can have it automatically reach out to Cerby to deactivate that account. So yes. All right. I'm going to pause here to see if we have any additional questions. There's a lot of other features that were out of scope for LCM today. I touched on a couple of them because I do think they're important for security and having a holistic view. But I'll give everyone a second to ask any other questions. All right. I think we've answered them all. So I appreciate it. So there's two ways you can get in touch with us. One, there's a poll that came out, and if you say yes, let's chat, we'll proactively reach out to you. Whenever we reach out to you, it'll be someone, either myself or someone from my team, who will specifically work with you. Bring your list of applications, bring your questions. All of us have deep identity experience, so we can help you not just understand how Cerby works, but we can help you understand how Cerby would plug into your environment and how we can work with your existing processes to make quick, meaningful change. Secondly, if you go to Cerby.com, the top right-hand corner, it says request a demo. By requesting a demo, someone will reach out to you and schedule it in the same. It'll be both talking about how Cerby can help with your business, but there'll be someone from my team, the technical team, to help you walk through and understand how Cerby will work in your environment. If there's no other questions, I really appreciate everyone's time. Someone, I believe, asked if this was going to be recorded. The answer is yes. We're going to have these type of webinars quite often. Go check out our LinkedIn profile or website to find them. And feel free to reach out. You can find me on LinkedIn, or like I said, follow the link on our website for a demo for us to reach out to, or go ahead and click yes, let's chat on the poll, and someone will be with you or reach out to you shortly. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.